Wow. This is a good-looking crowd, you know? Almost as good-looking as the San Francisco Giants' first baseline. They're good-looking. Okay, thank you. This is a great honor to be here tonight, and because I've always loved this festival, and I love writers in movies because they bring us the magic. They bring us into the film. So good evening and welcome, everyone reading the script now, to the Nantucket Film Festival Screenwriters Tribute in the beautiful Sconset Casino. All the gin joints and all the towns and all the world, she walks into mine. Let's see what else. The other great lines in movies that just grab me and they hang with you. You can never get them out of your head. John Wayne and the Searchers, sure as the turn of the earth. May the force be with you. It's the business we have chosen, whatever the hell that means. How about this one? Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night. It's Bette Davis. And of course, we know all the stars, and we sometimes don't know the Epstein brothers, of course, I love to say that kind of stuff in showbiz. They wrote Casablanca, all those amazing lines like, round up the usual suspects. I mean, just love Claude Rains. He's a good guy after all. We love it. And of course, the scenes in movies that grab our hearts, you know. There's a couple, by the way, in this film we're going to spotlight tonight. It's called Spotlight, in fact, where you really remember the scene where the Irish guy out on the street corner finally comes clean with what the priests were hiding. And you just go, wow, what a moment in the movie. And we love those scenes. And the great writers of film, they don't just write to us, they seem to be writing knowing us. You go afterwards, how did that guy know me? How did he get me and what I care about? And those are the best scripts. And if it's not on the page, it's not on the stage. And if you want to be biblical about it, I hope this doesn't offend my fellow religionists. In the beginning was the Word. So that's what we honor tonight. The tribute recognizes writers from film and television for their significant contributions to the art of storytelling. I want to thank all the sponsors tonight, A&E Indie Films and the Francie Neely Foundation. I want to thank members of the board of directors that put this together every year. I want to thank the members of the jury who helped us make the big decisions on tonight's honorees. We also prepared tonight a short film that shows the history of the Nantucket Film Festival. Maybe it'll tell us about the fluke, you know, that scene at the beginning. I always want to know about that. What whale was that? Anyway, the Nantucket Film Festival Screenwriters Tribute, throw to the film.
All right, let's start simple.
What's the story about you?
I don't really have any stories.
What do you mean? Everyone's got a story.
Without a great script, there's no way you can make a great movie. That screenwriter and that screenplay is crucial.
Nantucket Film Festival exists to recognize and honor screenwriters and storytellers. The Screenwriters Tribute exists to celebrate master screenwriters.
Can I talk to you alone for a second?
What do you do?
I play the orchestra.
I am frankly a little shocked.
Fantastic, thank you.
Larry Levinson.
Thank you very much.
What are you getting so crazy about?
Diner was one of the first films that really made me fall so much in love with filmmaking that I wanted to become a filmmaker.
It makes a lot of sense, and it says a lot about the people who run this festival to honor the screenwriter.
It's time, Robbie. It's time.
She's younger, she's stronger. What are you going to do about it?
They play. They feed their souls and inform our hearts.
Telling us the American story that no one else tried to tell.
Because they're sheep, and sheep get slaughtered.
Stay away from the cans!
It's a lonely profession. In Hollywood, it's a thankless profession.
I'm a zit. Get it?
For me to be honored for this, it validates what screenwriters hope, is that without the written word, there's nothing.
Harold Ramis has had a huge impact on American culture. What if there had been a world without him?
There is something so familiar about this.
Thank you, guys. Things like this make me want to stay humble, keep my head down, keep working harder, and make good movies.
It ain't pretty no more.
You talking to me?
I shouldn't have gone in there.
Shut up, shut up!
You have a lot of admirable qualities. Well, there's a whole lot more to life than that.
Screenwriters connect us to our past and inspire our future and make us feel our humanity. And we're going to continue to shine a spotlight on the best screenwriters and storytellers out there.
Please welcome my fellow board member and the host of this evening's tribute, Mr. Ben Stiller.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris. Good evening. It's great to be here. I'm not sure Chris even knows he's here, actually. I think they just, he was out in front of the hub talking to somebody about Trump, and they grabbed him and threw him in the back of a car. Well, not here. I love watching Chris talk about Trump. And he's all jacked up on this guy. I mean, what are we talking about here? And apparently he did a great job at I wasn't there at the In Their Shoes event yesterday, right? He was interviewing. I heard you talk for like nonstop for an hour and then just looked at Tom and said, Tom? I have to tell this story because we are both here. And a couple of months ago, I got an email from a friend and said, you gotta turn on Colbert. You got to see what's on Colbert right now. Chris Matthews is talking about Zoolander 2. And I was like, what? And, and this is sort of out of the blue because, this is like the movie came out a year ago. Huge bomb, critical failure, audiences didn't go. And I'm, a year later just starting to crawl out of my emotional pain shell. And it's like, what is going on? So I turn it on, and there's Chris telling this story on Colbert about interviewing Donald Trump during the campaign. And they're talking about like nuclear arms or relations with China or some really serious thing. And then they go to commercial, and Trump starts talking to Chris about Zoolander 2 and why it bombed. And apparently, Chris said that Trump said that Zoolander 2 didn't bomb because it wasn't funny or anything. It's just because nobody cared about male models anymore in the zeitgeist. It moved on. And all I'm thinking is, A, Trump's right, and maybe we should go a little easier on this whole Russia thing with him. And B, why are you doing this, Chris? Why are you dredging up my pain? I thought we were Nantucket buddies. We're like on the board of this thing together. We've given money to nonprofits that benefit billionaires and stuff. So anyway, I just swallow whatever. And then a few weeks go by, and I'm watching Hardball because I'm a huge Chris Matthews fan, and watching him do his thing. And he starts telling the same story again on Hardball. And at this point, I can't hold it in anymore. My sensitive actor ego has to write an email to Chris. So I write him an email and say, I understand what you're doing. You're pointing out how narcissistic and superficial Trump is and how he's ruining America. But what about me? What about my pain? Can you please stop? Talk about Hidden Figures, which you apparently think is The Deer Hunter. I mean, you love that movie so much. Anyway, he was very nice, and he wrote me back immediately and said he would stop. It was a 6-page email. No, it wasn't. Anyway, huge fan. You're the best, Chris. And I'm happy to be here hosting. I've never hosted this event. I've been here with the board for, I guess, since the beginning, and we have our comedy roundtable event, but this is the first time that I'm here doing this. And I was actually at a party last night with Jonathan Burkhart, one of our founders. And Jonathan looks at me and he goes, wow, man, I hear you're hosting the Screenwriters Tribute. That takes balls. Like, what are you talking about? He says, well, that's Brian Williams' event. He owns that event. I mean, he's legendary. Like, people literally would come from out of the country just to see Brian Williams host the Screenwriters Tribute. Wyatt Cenac did it, and he was great, and he killed, and Seth Meyers killed, but it's really all about Williams. So anyway, good luck with that. And I'm like, I mean, it's the Nantucket Film Festival, right? It's like 75 people in a casino that's not even a casino, really. Feels like the stakes are pretty low for this thing. Can't even get NCTV to cover it. Yeah. You know, I mean, is the guy from the Inky Mirror gonna trash me on his Twitter feed to 250 people? I won't retweet it, okay? Anyway, I do feel up to the challenge, and yeah, I've been coming to Nantucket since I was a kid. You know, the island has changed a lot over the years now, with all the, you know, rich people and celebrities and Kardashians driving around in bikinis. It used to be that the only celebrity nudity you'd get on the island was when my dad would bend down in the morning in his bathrobe for the paper. Which did happen, and he'd also go skinny dipping at Children's Beach sometimes. I used to work over at the Sunken Ship for Phil Osley. Yeah, a lot of you know him, he's a great guy. Everybody's got a story to tell about Phil. Many have told the police. He taught me how to scuba dive, taught me how to make out with girls, not personally. He taught me, what else did he teach? He would take us out on, we'd do scuba diving trips, and he'd take us out on his boat, and we'd go to these scallop beds off of Cotu, and that was part of the rite of passage to become a full-fledged scuba diver, to be certified. So you have to go down, get scallops, bring them up, and then open the scallops and eat them raw on the boat. Yeah, a lot of painful memories with Phil. And I've always loved the history of Nantucket. Nat Philbrick is here, one of our acclaimed Nantucketers. I mean, it's incredible. There was a time when there were 60,000 people living on Nantucket. 60,000. All in search of one thing, the great white beast, cocaine. In the 70s. It used to be great. You go on your bike and get a couple of 8 balls and hit the chicken box. Catch the spin doctors. Yeah, anyway, I'm happy to be here and to be a part of this and to be talking about screenwriting, because this festival's always been about screenwriting, and from the beginning, it's about paying tribute to the word, what Chris was talking about. And our events here, like the Screenwriters Colony, is one of the most vibrant things we have going. And these awards are celebrating the screenwriter, who is literally, you know, a joke a lot of the time. And, you know, in terms of when you say, like, you know, who do you sleep with in Hollywood? Or what, anyway, I'm not even going to go down the line. Anyway, so tonight, but the point is you should sleep with a screenwriter. And I'm excited about being able to pay tribute to our honorees tonight. So tonight we're going to be presenting 4 awards. The New Voices in Screenwriting Award, the Special Achievement in Documentary Storytelling Award, the Creative Impact in Television Award, and the Nantucket Film Festival's biggest honor, the Screenwriters Tribute Award. So yeah, we're honoring 5 wonderful storytellers, Jeremy Jasper, Nick Broomfield, David Crane, and Jeffrey Clarick, and Tom McCarthy. All, okay. So we're going to give out the first one, and to do that, I'm going to introduce a wonderful, talented young lady, brilliant comedic actress and singer and performer. She's been on Inside Amy Schumer and Lady Dynamite. She's the star of this Sundance hit movie Patty Cakes this year, and has a new show called Love You More coming to Amazon in the fall. I personally have had the pleasure of nestling my face in her bosom, instigated by her on stage at one of her shows. And she's incredibly brave and talented. Ladies and gentlemen, Bridget Everett. How are you?
I mean, just for the record, when my friend told me that Ben Stiller was coming to my show, he said, please don't touch him. Please just don't, whatever you do, don't touch Ben Stiller. And I said, okay. And then I was going through the audience, and as I walked by, I saw his phone go like this. I was like, well, if you're gonna videotape me, motherfucker, I'm gonna give you a memory that's gonna last a lifetime. It's always nice to see you, Ben. I don't know if curse words are allowed. I'm terribly sorry. I'm here to honor Jeremy Jasper tonight, writer and director of Patty Cakes. In 2014, I got a call from my agent, which was a surprise. And she said, would you be interested in going to Sundance to work with a first-time writer-director in the Screenwriters Lab? Or was it Directors Lab at the point? Directors Lab at that point. And I said no, not because, I don't know, I guess it's because I didn't think of myself as an actor and I didn't want to fuck up his first big thing. But he'd seen me singing on Inside Amy Schumer and he thought, you know what, I think that's Barb. And Barb, in Patty Cakes, is a single alcoholic mother, a failed ex-rocker who's sad and a little bit slutty, and I guess that's me. So thank you for thinking of me. The 90s were a wonderful time. Anyway, so we went, and the initial breakdown that I saw of Patty Cakes said, it's kind of a hip-hop Rocky about a young, heavy-set white girl from down and out New Jersey who wants nothing more than to break out of her surroundings and achieve rap superstardom. And then I read the script and I loved it. And I felt like it was kind of like all my favorite kind of movies, all my genre movies up like into one. It was a little bit Rocky, a little bit Ordinary People, a little bit Rudy, and a little bit Sister Act 2. And if you've ever wanted somebody to put all those movies and make them into like one thing but way better, then Jeremy's done that. When I got to Sundance, I met Danielle MacDonald, who's a young Australian actress, and she also had gotten a call from Jeremy out of the blue, and the producers had seen a picture of her and showed it to Jeremy, and he knew right away that that was his Patty. And he called her and he said, hi, I'm Jeremy, I want you to do this, this workshop I'm working on. And he said, have you ever rapped? And she said, no. And, but he knew in his gut that she was Patty, and he said, I'm not worried. Just what he had said to me when I said that I'm not an actor. He said, I'm not worried. So we got to work at Sundance, and I kept choking and fucking up, and I was like, don't worry, I'll get over, once I get over my nerves, he's like, I'm not worried. So we left Sundance, and we were in love with Patty Cakes, and we were in love with Jeremy, not just as a writer and a director, but as a person. And I can only speak for myself here, but I was pretty sure that once the movie got financing, and I knew it would, that they were gonna replace me with Kathy Bates. And, and I had a real nightmare about what that was gonna feel like. So I told Jeremy and his producers, who I call the Gingers, I said, you know, Kathy Bates can't sing her way out of a bag. And that may or may not be true, but, you know, sometimes being a bitch is all a woman's got to hold on to, and you gotta do what you want, you know, so. Anyway, I also like to thank Nantucket for the open bar and the oysters. And anyway, Jeremy is truly a rare and special talent. He's written a script that resonates with so many people, and he's someone whose heart and humor and very precise vision crackles throughout the film. Patty Cakes is a love letter not only to New Jersey, but to the hip-hop music Jeremy grew up obsessed with. But more importantly, it's a love letter to the strong, beautiful, and complicated women that he grew up loving. Roll the clip, please.
Lords and ladies of the royal court, bow down. The queen is in the building. Introducing Miss Patricia Dabrowski, a.k.a. Patty Cakes, a.k.a. White Trish, a.k.a. Juicy Luciano, a.k.a. Marilyn Manson, a.k.a. Jane Doe, a.k.a. Killer P!
Christ. The face that sank 1,000 ships.
Joe, Schmitty, Lois, you got for a real treat tonight. Oh, Patricia.
It's the Ritz Cracker. Shit. Like Jaguar. Again. Check this out. It's the Ritz Cracker. No, shit.
Hey, come here. Stop with the pussyfooting around and give me some limmies. Superstar. Come on. You got this. Go on.
It's the Ritz cracker, I go hot swagger, it's Viagra. I roll stone through Jersey like Jagger in a Jaguar. I pull strings like Santana at the Copacabana. Tony Montana meets Soprano in a pink bandana. PB&J, PB&J, Patty Basta, Nana and Jabri, going hard in the paint like Picasso, painting masterpieces, 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 masterpieces.
So proud to present this year's New Voices in Screenwriting Award to Jeremy Jasper.
Oh, hey!
Congratulations.
Thank you. Oh, shit. Thank you. Wow, this is so weird. Is this the award?
That's it.
Oh, wow. I'm a little... Okay. I was... all right. Well, this is the first award I've ever received, so this is very sweet. Also, I've never been to Nantucket before. I'm from northern New Jersey, and my parents used to take me to a trailer park when we would summer. So this is very exotic for me. You know, Patty Cakes is my first screenplay, and I'm very, very touched to be here and very honored. It took years and years to write. I didn't go to film school. I was a musician for many years and a music video director, and I kind of had to teach myself from scratch how to do this. And in 2012, my wife, Georgie, was pregnant, and I went to her and I said, listen, I'm gonna write a screenplay about a heavyset girl from New Jersey who wants to rap. And I know we're about to have a child, but this is what I'm gonna do. And she said, fuck yeah, you're gonna do it. And I love her. So, check. I'm so glad that Jersey's in the house with Tom tonight. Yeah. And I couldn't be more thrilled to be here with Ben Stiller. I think I got to second base while watching Reality Bites back in the 90s. So, I mean, he's such a hero of mine and all my friends and my whole generation. So this is a really, really huge night for me. So thank you. Good night.
Sorry. I was just talking to Jeremy Jasper. There's no stage manager. It's just us. Okay. Nantucket Film Festival. To introduce our next recipient, I'm going to bring up an award-winning documentarian, Regina Weinreich. Regina, come on up. Come on up. Regina, I saw Regina before and we said hi, and I congratulated you, thinking that you were a winner, but you're a presenter. But everybody's a winner here. And
I'm a winner. I told you.
Come in, yeah.
My stock went up when my husband found out that Ben was introducing me.
Really? Oh, sweet.
Yes,
All right,
yes.
nice. It says that
I'm a winner.
This is what it says, that your work has appeared in the New York Times, the Washington Post, and the Boston Globe. Is that true?
Yes.
As a documentarian?
No.
Okay.
As a writer.
As a writer?
Yeah,
Okay.
as a
Got it.
journalist.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I got that right.
Yeah.
What kind of journalism do you focus on?
I'm a believer in the new journalism.
New journalism?
Yeah,
Is that fake news?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm going to explain all of that.
Okay, explain
I really do think the
Have
new
you-
journalism is more true than you would think,
Okay, good.
and it relates to Nick.
Okay, thank you very much. Regina, ladies and gentlemen. Regina.
I'm honored to be at Nantucket again, and honored to be presenting the Special Achievement in Documentary Filmmaking Award to Nick Broomfield. Many people know me here as a journalist, but I'm also a writer with special books on Jack Kerouac, and I've made literary documentaries in the field of beat literature. My heroes are William Burroughs and Paul Bowles, writers who believe that fiction and nonfiction must be truer than the table you can touch, a quality that I think is present in the artistry of Nick Broomfield. You've got to love a guy who can take you into the mind of a serial killer. Aileen Wuornos, Life and Death of a Serial Killer, not only made a big impression on me, the documentary inspired the feature film starring Charlize Theron in her Oscar-winning role. His Tales of the Grim Sleeper was a great piece of investigative filmmaking that was chilling. And other work, Kurt and Courtney, Spalding Gray, Monster in a Box, Lily Tomlin, The Search for Signs of Intelligent Life in the Universe, provided insight into performers, performances, and they're just great films because of the care he takes to tell a great story. And I'm just mentioning a few of his films. He's influenced Michael Moore, he's influenced Morgan Spurlock and others. His Whitney, Can I Be Me, falls into these genres. You wonder about this terrifically talented and tragic dead woman and how Nick gets her to tell her own story. When I asked Nick recently who his inspirations were, I was not surprised to hear D.A. Pennebaker and Frederick Wiseman. Then there was a filmmaker named Mike Rubo who made a film about Castro and never got to meet Fidel. So he made a film about Cuba and its milieu. In addition to that, Nick noted a 1966 essay from Esquire by Gay Talese, Frank Sinatra Has a Cold, in which Talese never got to interview Sinatra, but nevertheless wrote a great essay, a supreme example of the new journalism, a melding of nonfiction with the techniques of fiction storytelling, proving that you can tell a great story just by hanging out and improvising. I like that his influences are literary as well as cinematic. Nick's attention to storytelling makes him the perfect recipient of this award at Nantucket, a film festival known for its celebration of storytelling and writers. Let's look at the clip.
I just wanted to raise a question. What do you think of Sarah Palin as president? Hello? Anybody hear me?
Welcome to Alaska. Have you heard of Sarah Palin?
I certainly have. What about $500?
The last interview got $20,000.
Frank! What did you like about her?
No fancy, big, huge words.
Her sort of common sense approach to it.
Disrespect for intelligence.
Sociopath.
Uses people and then throws them under the bus.
Nice lady. Genuine smile. Charming. She'd kill you like that.
Order. The Prime Minister.
What a good idea.
Radio Blackburn, the Lancashire sound on the air.
I always wondered who the real Maggie Thatcher was, and while watching her, I was always searching for clues.
The Russians said that I was an Iron Lady.
Yeah.
They were right.
I mean, 4 years ago I would have said, how dare someone bring a child into this life? The world's going to explode any day and stuff like that. But once you fall in love, it's a bit different.
Nobody even knew who Nirvana was. This is a cartoon that Kurt did when he was up here. He was so personable and so fucking cool.
You're not, exaggerating the violence and so on.
No, not at all. Courtney has had a reputation for being extraordinarily violent.
Where are you going with this? You can't do this. I'll walk off. I really will. And are you filming at all?
Why didn't they tell the community that there was someone running around killing girls?
They said, he's only killing hookers.
He was heavily into women. So what? He was into women. A lot of people into women. What do? Go to the police and say, hey, this man into women.
I never provoked those guys. I was very nice, very ladylike. I didn't even swear in front of my clients.
I sentence you to death for the murder of David Spears.
I'll be up in heaven while y'all rotting in hell. What I did was what anybody else would do. I defended myself, which everybody has the right to defend themselves. And I had no intentions of killing anyone.
Whitney's voice, unparalleled. She was ridiculous. It also cost her near the end of the tours. You could see the toll it took on her voice to have to do those performances night after night.
She was totally brilliant. Totally brilliant, but everything came so naturally to her.
Whitney was created by God, and Whitney's gift came from him.
She changed history for us, and she paid a price for it.
I've got such a big name. Well, it's an enormous relief to be in Nantucket. I think it's easier to get to most parts of the Congo than to get here. Anyway, I'm looking forward to some bike rides tomorrow. I think the wonderful thing about making documentaries is you don't actually have to write a script. Do you think I can move this up? Or up?
Go ahead.
And so, documentaries are really a sort of extended adventure. When I went into making the film recently about Whitney Houston, I knew very little other than I thought she would make a fantastic film. And went through this kind of unique experience of actually falling in love with somebody I'd never known through the footage and through the kind of love that the interviews gave towards her. And it was I felt incredibly privileged and honored to spend, 2 years getting to know this amazing person, talking to her best friends and the people who really hung out with her, the sort of bodyguards, the hairdressers, the little people who are the people who really know someone intimately. And then having the luxury to sort of put it together. I have to thank, Showtime, who I know are very involved with this festival, for sort of putting up with me and giving me lots of notes and so on making the film. But I think it was one of the only occasions, and also the Eileen film, I think, where every time we pretty much screened the film, and I was editing with someone called Mark Hofflin, who's as English as me, we would both sort of pretend that we were incredibly interested in what was happening outside outside the window, because we were completely choked up, and we didn't want to show each other that we were so moved to tears each time. Eventually, we talked about that. And I just thought, this is so incredible. This is the power of film. This is what you can do with, the reality of film. You can really move yourself emotionally. You can move audiences. You can kind of interpret somebody who I think in their life was so sort of maligned towards the end of her life. So anyway, it's a great honor to be here. I will try and get this in my suitcase when I leave. Thank you for your lovely introduction.
Yeah, you too, man. Can't wait to see the movie. Thank you. Tell you to go down this. Oh, that's okay. Thanks, guys. I've been informed to redirect recipients to go down this way. Our next presenter is a very funny person who's appeared on the series Episodes and the FX comedy You're the Worst, and the films Gone Girl, Enough Said, and Paradise. Ladies and gentlemen, Kathleen Rose Perkins. How you doing?
Nice to meet you.
You too.
We just met. Hi, everyone. Oh, I'm so excited to be here because I get to talk about two men that I have had the privilege of working with and befriending for the last 7 years of my life. Jeffrey Cleric and David Crane are so smart. They are so funny. They are so kind-hearted. And they are so, so damaged. Yeah, big time. And because of all that, we get a ton of awesome shows, Friends, Mad About You, The Class, and last but not least, Episodes. And I'm gonna talk a little bit about Episodes because I think it pertains to the award they're receiving tonight, but also because I'm in it. It's a cable television series about the adaptation of a British television series into an American network television series. In other words, a modern-day tragedy. But somehow, with these beautifully talented and damaged minds, David and Jeffrey have created a show that is honest and hopeful and truly funny, sometimes painfully funny, but nevertheless very funny. But more importantly, it's a love letter to all the creative souls out there who have ever tried to sell their wares to make a quote-unquote living. It's about trying to be an artist in today's marketplace without losing your integrity or your creative vision. And I think, overall, the moral of this story is, though this ambition feels completely futile and naive at times, it's worth fighting for, and it's possible to achieve. I mean, you'll probably come out more damaged than you were going in, but if you stick to your guns, it's worth fighting for. I don't know, right? So fight. David, Jeffrey, on just a personal note, I want to say thank you for bringing me along for this incredible ride. It has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my entire life, not just for my career, but because I can also call you my friends. And as one of your biggest fans, I can't wait to see what you come up with next. What is it? What are you going to do? Can I be in it? All right, let's roll the clip.
Did someone call for the long arm of the law? Oh my God!
Ross, you okay?
They're still not coming on, man, and the lotion and the powder have made a paste.
The lightning round begins now. What is Joey's favorite food?
Sandwiches.
Correct. Chandler was how old when he first touched a girl's breast?
14?
No, 19. Thanks, man. Joey had an imaginary childhood friend. His name was...
Maurice.
Correct. His profession was...
Oh, Space Cowboy.
Correct. What is Chandler Bing's job?
Something to do with numbers and processing. Well, and he carries a briefcase.
10 seconds. You need this or you lose the game.
It has something to do with transponding. Oh, he's a transponster.
Watch me. This is not decaf. You pumped me full of caffeine.
I did not on purpose. I didn't
The
know.
atomic zinger? Does that sound atomic? Now I'm never gonna sleep.
All right, you know what? Forget tea. We'll watch the crazy guy on Channel 38 with the white beard. Come on.
Forget it.
Come on, 10 minutes of this guy, you'll fall right asleep.
The more you try to fall asleep, the more you can't. It's like the erection thing.
Hey. I told you, that happens to everybody.
Yeah, and what do you do when that happens?
Yeah, you can't keep trying. You just get you to roll over and go to sleep.
I can't roll over and go to sleep.
So roll over and try to get an erection.
We've seen trees uprooted and telephone poles knocked down. Mother Nature.
So you and Lena hitting it? Excuse me? You know, you guys like, oh. Well, there has been no hitting it, per se. Yeah, I would like to hit it. I would like very, very much to hit it.
You think if you died, the other friends would come to your funeral?
Yeah, I think they'd come.
Even Jennifer?
Yeah, even Jennifer.
God, can you imagine the press, all of you together again? Well, not you.
Right. Because I'd be dead.
Life was simpler before you became a lesbian.
A lesbian? I'm not a lesbian.
Really? What would you call it?
I don't know. I feel uncomfortable with labels.
Well, label or not, if you open a can and there's beans in it, it's a can of beans.
I am so sick of these British fucks coming over here and stealing our parts. How is that even legal? Huh? It should be like, okay, you act in your country and we'll act in ours. But no, they sneak in here with their perfect American accents like some fucking magic trick. You know, and no one even knows till it's too late. Then suddenly you see them on a talk show and it's like, holy shit, that guy's English? They're on our TV shows. They're in our movies. There should be congressional hearings or something. Fucking British people. Stay the fuck home. No offense.
That's what I love about this business. When push comes to shove, you put all the crap aside to make great TV. I don't have to like you. You don't have to like me.
Not to worry.
Exactly. We are professionals.
Yep. Like two old whores.
Right. Who won't we fuck? I'm excited about this.
I know you are.
It is my honor to present the award for creative impact in television writing to David Crane and Jeffrey Clarick. Come on up.
Do we get a street? What do we do?
Buy a house.
Just hold it.
Yeah. You need to buy a house.
I got it. All right, you hold it. Okay, all right. First of all, thank you, Kathleen. Thank you for schlepping here and for saying those lovely things. And thank you for being so wonderful on our show. She's back there, yeah.
Yeah, I always say, like, casting is kind of like searching for the girl who's going to fit in Cinderella's slipper, you know? You try to squeeze a lot of actresses into that shoe, and there's only one who's going to be the exact fit. And when Kathleen came in for episodes, we knew immediately that we had found our perfect, beautiful, everything we'd hoped for foot.
Okay, so there's this thing, and we weren't sure whether to talk about it because it's really sad. This is really sad.
Not funny.
No. Both our mothers passed away a few weeks ago. Both of them. And
not in a romantic Romeo and Juliet kind of way. They just both died like 2 weeks apart.
Yes, and We felt like it was something we wanted to talk about tonight because both of them would have been so proud. This is a huge honor, and they would have both been kvelling. I'm not sure if kvelling is a Nantuckety kind of word.
Not so much.
No. Okay. But anyway, hopefully they're both here somewhere.
Wherever my mother is, she's complaining about her seat.
Yes.
That's where you put me.
And hopefully they're not together.
Yeah, because they've hated each other.
This is true.
Hated each other.
They did. We only brought them together once, many years ago.
Right. For his 40th birthday.
Right, which is nice because we now all know my 40th birthday was many years ago.
Anyway, so we've brought them together, and would you call it like a disaster?
Oh my God, seriously, this could not have gone worse.
Ever since then, my mother used to say, when we talk about his mother, she said, that bitch.
No. And my mother would say, Jeffrey's mother's lovely, in a way that you know did not mean lovely. But forgetting that stuff, they were both, on their own, wonderful moms.
Yeah. And it's really so weird because when we first heard about this award, a couple of weeks ago, they were both alive.
And they were incredibly excited for us.
I remember my mother's first words when I told her that we were getting this. She said, are they going to pay for the flight?
This award meant so much to them, and it means so much to us, particularly for two writers who question their ability on a daily basis.
Oh, yeah. We start every morning like looking at the computer and just freaking out. It's just sheer panic.
Yeah, we are consumed with self-doubt. There is tremendous insecurity. Every time we start a new script, it's like we've never written before. And keep in mind, we've been doing this for a long time.
They know you're at least 40.
Yes, they do. So you would think at a certain point it would get easier. No, if anything, it has gotten harder, which is crazy.
I know. I mean, if we were like plumbers, I mean, who've been plumbing for 30 years, I don't think we'd be saying like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what this pipe is about. You know, what does this toilet want? You know, is this shit even funny?
So all of this begs the question, why do we do it? Why do we continue to put ourselves through it? It's not like the world needs more TV shows. There is so much angst, and if the journey is so punishing, why do we keep writing?
Because like every Thursday night or Sunday night, like after one of our shows was on, the phone would ring like clockwork.
And it would be either Joan or Millie calling to tell us how much they loved it, how much we made them laugh, how much they were moved.
Yeah, and if I could like make my mother laugh, that was like the gold standard. I mean, she was my toughest audience, and she was my best audience, and I just wanted to make her proud. So to get this was worth.
Yeah, and while nothing can replace that sort of absolute mom validation, we now have this thing. And believe me, we would happily give it back for one more phone call, but knowing that that is never going to happen, this means even more. It really.
And so we thank you for this.
And if they're here somewhere, our mothers thank you.
Hopefully from opposite sides of the theater.
So thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Fantastic.
We got a lot of time.
Yeah. Kvelling is definitely not a Nantucket word. I just know from having, spent time here with my mother. My mother passed away a couple of years ago, and she was a Catholic who converted to Judaism. And actually today, if we want to get really, into it. I actually went up to the Jewish cemetery here where my mom's plot is, and there is a Jewish cemetery here, which is nice. It's kind of way out in the middle, kind of hidden away. And also, I just want to say, because I think about my mom when I'm here in Nantucket, and I think about her, because she really had a thing, Chris, for Trump. She really had issues with Trump because he closed off the 72nd Street exit on the West Side Highway to build one of his buildings. Yeah, so she always said, Trump is a putz. Anyway. That's going to be the Inky Mirror headline. Ann Mira calls Trump a putz from the grave. Our next presenter is a critically acclaimed actor who has done a lot of critically acclaimed things in many critically acclaimed movies and critically acclaimed plays. And in addition to being critically acclaimed, he's also just acclaimed by regular human beings like myself. I'm a very big fan of his work. He's worked with Tom McCarthy in The Station Agent and Win-Win, and on stage he's appeared many times in Glengarry Glen Ross. He did the Stephen Gerges play, Motherfucker with a Hat. I just like saying motherfucker here in this crowd. Anyway, please welcome Bobby Cannavale.
Thanks. Thanks for having me. All right, we're almost done. All right. Here we go. It's very exciting for me to be here. I've never been to Nantucket. Thank you for having me. Yeah, it's very cool. And it's really exciting to be able to help honor my best friend. And it's hard to do that, if I was honoring somebody whose work I like but I didn't really know him much, I could just get on the computer and be like, all right, and I figured it out. But this was tough, because I really love this guy. But here we go. You're honoring a really well-deserved human being here. The truth takes time to emerge. It takes persistence to uncover. It takes patience and faith in the mundane to reveal character, to reveal truth. Two men walk silently, well, mostly silently. One of them is silent, at least, as they walk alongside a railroad track, waiting for the odd train to come by and then simply watch it together. A man stands on a subway platform, observing a street musician, beating his drum, unaware that their lives will soon intersect. Three high school wrestling coaches stand side by side, silently marveling at a teenager's effortless command of his physical gifts, as we in the audience observe the men registering the complexity of what it means to no longer be young. A journalist listens intently and focused as a sexual abuse victim recounts his horrible story to her. In all of Tom McCarthy's films, different though they all are, this respect for process, for consideration, for the mundane beats of the day-to-day in order to arrive at the truth set him apart, I believe, from many of his peers. In the midst of a culture that presently values expediency, explosions, and exposition, Tom McCarthy remains a humanist to his core. His films remind us that the space between people and how we choose to fill that space in pursuit of truth and knowledge is really why we're here. No lightsabers or robots necessary. One telltale sign of an auteur, in my opinion, and the quality of their work is the caliber of actors that the filmmaker attracts. And one look at the list of actors in Tom's films and the very real and very everyday characters that they've played in those films tell you a lot about the kind of stories that he's interested in telling and the kind of people he's interested in learning more about. It's you, it's me. It's me, in spite of the fact that almost 20 years ago I told him he shouldn't be one of those actors that becomes a hyphenate, like an actor, writer, director who wants to make films and just stick to acting, dude. He's also the guy that told him that I wasn't sure people were going to hang with a movie about a dwarf who rolls his own cigarettes and likes to look at trains. But as I said earlier, the truth takes time to emerge. And 20 years into a friendship like no other really I've ever had, I'm honored to know this guy and to take advice from this guy and to sit in a dark theater and learn more about the human condition from this guy. Let's take a look.
Mommy, where's Daddy?
He's running.
From what?
You're breathing funny. Is it your heart? You could be having a heart attack, Mike. No. Let's lay down. No. Let's lay down. Are you cold?
Yeah, because I'm lying on the ground.
Come on, I'm gonna warm you up. It's okay.
Daddy.
It's okay.
Are you all right?
Doctor says it's stress.
Sorry. Did he prescribe anything for you?
Yeah, jogging.
Can you give me a slap?
Okay, like that?
It's a little harder.
Why Daddy hit Kyle?
I have no idea.
I don't think we can teach him anything. I want to smoke. Should I go outside?
You shouldn't be smoking.
I know, but if I do.
Then you should go outside.
Good afternoon. Are you in need of any assistance today, sir?
No.
I could help you cross the street.
No.
I could help you cross your yard.
No.
I could help you cross your... Ow. I found the snipe!
Oh, did you?
Are they tall?
Oh, yes, they're very tall.
Do they have a lot of colors?
They do indeed.
Do they like chocolate?
Oh, yeah. Chocolate. Ah! What is that thing?
How fast are they pitching cricket? These kids, this is my last best shot.
Walter, I know you're a very smart man, but with a drum you have to remember not to think. Thinking just screws it up, okay?
Okay.
Come on, follow me. Better. Did you think?
No.
Good.
It's really funny how different people see me and treat me. Because I'm actually just a very simple, boring person.
You reading about trains?
Yep.
What you should do, man, you should get a job on the railroad.
You said you weren't going to talk to me if I sat here, Joe.
I haven't said anything in like 20 minutes.
Nine.
You timed me?
Mm-hmm.
That's cold, bro.
Let me ask you something. You ever wish you were somebody else?
I'm your mother. That's all I ever wanted to be.
But if you could do whatever you wanted to do, what would it be?
Why don't you call the Rabinowitz girl? Take her out on a date.
She got married 10 years ago. She's got 3 kids.
You should step up to the plate.
Spotlight.
Well, apparently this priest molested kids in 6 different parishes over the last 30 years, and the attorney for the victims, Mr.
Garabedian.
Thanks, Eileen. Mr. Garabedian says Cardinal Law found out about it 15 years ago and did nothing.
Yeah, I think that attorney's a bit of a crank, and the church dismissed the claim.
He said, she said.
Whether Mr. Garabedian is a crank or not, he says he has documents that prove the Cardinal knew.
As I understand it, those documents are under seal.
Okay, but the fact remains a Boston priest abused 80 kids. We have a lawyer who says he can prove Law knew about it, and we've written all of 2 stories in the last 6 months. This strikes me as an essential story to a local paper.
So this was all under the table?
There's no paper trail at all. The victim has to sign a confidentiality agreement to get the settlement. The lawyer takes a third, and the church sweeps it under the rug.
Jesus, it's a freaking racket.
It's more complicated than that. McLeish has got a duty to the client to get the best deal he can.
Sure, but how many victims do you represent and profit from before you say something?
Garabedian would say none.
Legal ethics aside, Ben, operating the way McLeish has all but guarantees that the abuse stays under wraps.
Why are we hesitating? Barron told us to get law. This is law.
Barron told us to get the system. We need the full scope. That's the only thing that will put an end to this.
Then let's take it up to Ben and let him decide.
We'll take it to Ben when I say it's time. It's time, Robbie! It's time! They knew, and they let it happen. 2 kids! It could have been you. It could have been me. It could have been any of us.
This was fun, right?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tom McCarthy.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Please, thank you very much. Thank you. All I could really think about is how much younger I looked in that headshot. First of all, thank you to Bobby. He is one of my very best friends, and it's funny when you sit there and you think how we started on that film. You know, I love writing for actors. It's one of my favorite parts of the job, I think. And Bobby is officially the very first actor I wrote for. I had just started to write the stage, and he did give me the advice not to become one of those actors that tries to write and direct. It's one of the few times I didn't listen to him. I set to writing it, and I learned something on that, which was I told Bobby early on I was writing a role for him. I thought this would quiet him. He would get behind me. Well, he did get behind me. He called me just about every day, and he'd be like, hey, man, how's that screenplay coming? I was like, dude, I just started writing it. It's my first screenplay. I was like, I know, I'm just checking in. You need any help or anything I can do? I'm like, no. I mean, my agent gave up calling on me, and Bobby never gave up calling on me. But genuinely, Bobby, thank you for that. I want to first thank the Nantucket Film Festival. What an amazing place to come to. What a very, I was here years ago on the jury, and I'm just so honored to be back. Ms. Tell, everyone, the legendary Mr. Wallace, thank you. Had a great time yesterday. Great to be here. Look, I have a lot of energy. You know, I come from a Irish Catholic family from New Jersey that has a lot of energy. In another time, we would have probably been called spastics. I say that because writing, it's not something that comes natural to me. It's not something I ever planned on doing. I was trained as an actor. I thought, I have the attention span for that. That I can handle. Maybe, if I'm good and I'm lucky. But writing, it was never in the cards. I wrote The Station Agent really out of curiosity, and I had a lot of time on my hands. It was early in my career, I wasn't working a lot, and I started writing, and I just thought, I'm gonna set to this, and I was just fascinated by the process early on. I thought, nothing's gonna happen with this. But man, this is kind of interesting, it's kind of fun. And, over time, I refined that script, I finished the script, and after I finished it, I think it took about 3 years to get that movie made. That movie everyone passed on that movie. It was like the favorite thing people could do was pass on that movie. And I heard everything about that script, everything I could possibly hear, all the notes, all the feedback. But I had these 3 actors attached, Peter Dinklage, Bobby Cannavale, and Patricia Clarkson. And they stuck by me, and we thought, one day we're going to get this thing made. And we did. And by the time we got it made, we were so ready to make that movie. We made it for $500,000 out in New Jersey, not far from where I grew up. And I still think about that, watching that clip there, and I haven't seen that movie in a long time. What a just wonderful and special event your first film is. There's nothing like it. You can't believe it's actually happening just to begin with. And then to get all these wonderful people to kind of get behind your vision you're not even sure you trust yet. To get behind it and commit their talents and time and energy to it, it's incredibly, incredibly rewarding. What happened, though, is after that, people started calling me a writer. And even Pixar called. The incredibly talented Pete Docter saw my film and said, "Will you come to Pixar and help me write up?" And I thought, oh my God, this is like a nightmare. I'm not a writer. And I literally was started to like think about this all the time, and people started calling me a writer and treating me a writer and talking and offering me writing deals. I didn't even know what the hell a writing deal was. And so I went to Pixar, and that's a great place to start because it's just a bunch of like nerdy creative people who found a utopia where they're sort of was set free to do what they do. And that really sort of helped me gain some courage. But I got back and I started thinking about writing The Visitor, and I thought, man, I was really almost having a crisis at this point. I thought, I've got to tell everyone, I've got to come out of the closet. And I've got to announce to the world, I am not a writer, this has been a mistake, and I need to get back to my acting career, which never really took off. But then life intervened. My father got pretty sick at that time, and I had to start going out to see him and spend time with him. It's a difficult thing to do. We've all been in that position. And it's one of those moments in life that you're really kind of forced to face the profundity of life. And it was incredibly, it was beautiful and tragic all at once. But what I found during that period is when I could steal 2 or 3 hours, I would go down to his study and I would write. I was starting to write Spotlight at that time. I was writing also $1 Million Arm and something else, maybe The Cobbler. I was literally writing on 3 things. And I realized in that 2 or 3 or 4 hours, that became the safest place for me. It became a place that I could go to and get away. It became my island. And it was at that moment, I'm way into my career at this point, and I thought, oh, I'm a writer. I actually like this. I like going there. Yeah, it's painful. Yeah, it's incredibly humbling. It's incredibly trying. But man, this is a great place for me to go. It's a great place for me to spend time. So, this is, like I said, 10 or 15 years into my career. And, that tribute that they ran at the top, watching those filmmakers and those writers, those are people who have inspired me my whole life. And to even be considered in the same group, to get one of these incredible signs at all those terrific people, it's cool. I do have a lot of rewards, and this is a damn cool one. This is like, yeah. When I think about it, and I had a little bit of time on my bike ride today, I thought, what is it? Why is it that the writing is sort of taken to me? And I thought about the period we're in right now in life. I've had a hard time writing over the last 6 months, like I'm sure a lot of us have had focusing on our lives, and that's because everything is so destabilized. The world is just so nuts right now. Not just what's happening nationally, that should be enough, but everything else. There's just a lot going on. But what writing has really taught me, and this is coming from a guy that really had a hard time slowing down, is to slow down, to sit, to think, to reflect, to consider my life, my place, to consider the lives of others, to consider our strengths, our weaknesses, and our blind spots. Maybe most importantly, our blind spots. What are we missing in the other? And, I don't know if it's made me a good person, but it certainly made me a better version of me. And that's, that's a pretty good side effect for a job that I consider myself incredibly fortunate and lucky to do every day of my life. So with that, again, it is an absolute honor and pleasure to be here. I thank you all for being such wonderful hosts. And thank you.
All right, that's it. That was a beautiful speech, Tom. Congratulations. Beautiful. I want to thank Mistel Brabe for running a great festival, and Beth Emelson for helping out tonight. John Burkhart for laying down the gauntlet. Thank you. And also Dan McCoy, Mike Birbiglia, incredibly funny people. Donna Carey for anything I said funny tonight was theirs. Anything else was me. And that's it. And now it's like a crazy party at the Johnson House, lobster cocktails and 8 balls. No. That's it. Good night, everybody. Thank you very much.